Hey there guys, I am the Six Machine and welcome back to another Warhammer video. There has been a rather special announcement from Warhammer community today, and that is that apparently they've sold to over 1 million customers via the online store now, which, let's be honest, is quite a great achievement, and in my opinion is pretty good news, showing that GW is doing well throughout this whole pandemic, still going strong despite everything which is happening, which does hopefully mean they're making a good amount of money, which should hopefully also mean there's more money for production and design and new books and codexes, armies and models. So this should, in theory, be something that we are happy to see. Whether it actually translates that way, I suppose is up to you, but I think it is a good sign that GW is doing well. But to celebrate this milestone, they have announced there is a funky little reward available for the next month, and whilst honestly I would prefer it was something else, I do kind of understand that they need to appeal to the largest proportion of their player base, and so for the next month from today up until the 28th of October, if you make an order of £150 or more from the Games Workshop online store, you will get a Primaris Sergeant model included in your delivery absolutely free of charge. And let's get this right out the way, it is a free model, so anyone complaining, which I'm about to do, really doesn't have much of a leg to stand on. It is a completely free additional model for when you make an order, so we should, if nothing else, be grateful for that. I will say though, if it was me, personally, I would have made it so that the benchmark for getting him was less. I think in terms of creating an incentive for players to spend money, £150 is just a bit too high. If you were going to grab, say, an Imperial Knight, and then just for a few extra quid you could get this model as a free bonus, you may well consider, you know what, I'll just grab an extra box of Intercessors or whatever it may be, just to break through that £100 barrier, but £150 is a significant spend which you may not want to shell out for just to get this extra model. And in my opinion, this would have probably given GW a bigger level of additional sales if they had put it at £100 instead of £150, just to tempt all those people that hit the £80 or the £90 benchmark to just spend that little bit extra to push them past £100. And when you consider that third-party sites like Element Games or anything like that, roughly £150 will cost you from those about £120 or £130. That essentially puts the price of this guy very roughly at about £20 or £30, which, I mean, let's be fair, that is in line with other character models from GW. But this guy isn't a lieutenant or a captain or a chaplain or a librarian or whatever else it may be. He is literally just a squad sergeant. And while yes, it is a nice model, I do like the pose, I do love the fact that he has customization and that you can give him a helmet or give him no helmet, you can give him his heavy bolt pistol or you can give him the plasma pistol. He's got a nice amount of detail and ornamentation on him. I do think they have done a good job with the model, but let's be honest, if you plonked him down on the table, you probably wouldn't be able to pick him out of the rest of your army, with the exception of the fact that he's got a very Necron themed base. And in some ways, unless you can take the Necrons off or you don't have to put them on, that may actually deter people even more, because if you're like me and you don't play Necrons or collect Necrons, or you have a very specific basing style, or you have no opponents that play Necrons, having that base on him may actually make him look a little bit at odds with the rest of your force and with the battlefield and with your opponent's army. So that actually may be even worse overall than if it just had a plain sort of nondescript base. And I mean, yes, I know I said that people complaining don't have a leg to stand on because it's a free model, and I get it, it is a free model, and if you were planning on grabbing a few units or some reinforcements for your army along with a codex or some paints or whatever it may be, and you do usually use the GW store, then let's be honest, with GW prices, it isn't always that difficult to break £150 in a single purchase, so there is a little bit of extra incentive to go through the GW route if you do normally use them and you do normally make purchases around that figure. But for me personally, I always just go through a third party site to get that extra, 20% worth of models that I can get from them, and in this case spending £150 with someone like Element Games gets me an extra £20 or £30 worth of models, so I could just buy, instead of getting this guy, another Invader ATV or a squad of Inceptors, or just another arguably cooler looking HQ character like Torgaradon or a Primaris Captain or anything like that. And if you're a Xenos player and you don't play Marines at all, there's arguably even less incentive to go through the GW route, because you're almost certainly never going to be using this Sergeant in your games anyway, so getting him is, while it might be a nice project to paint up and have a play around with, you're never actually going to use him in your games. So, I mean, it's a shame. I'm glad that they're celebrating having 1 million customers served, because that is quite an achievement, and as I said, he isn't a terrible model, but he does just look like a Intercessor Sergeant. There's nothing really that makes him stand out any more than that, and I think making people spend £150 just to get him really is far too much, when you could go the better route, in my opinion, of just going through a third-party site and getting something else for that cost, which may be better for your army, or will certainly be sort of more efficient on the tabletop for your army. But will this offer tempt you to go through the GW store route instead of a third-party retailer? Or will you just stick out to buying from third-party sellers like Element Games to get a bit more bang for your buck? And also, what do you think of the model itself? Do you like the pose and the customization? Or, like me, do you think that it's just a bit too plain for a 1 million customer celebration mini? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, thank you very much for watching. Please do like and subscribe if you want to see more Warhammer content from me, but until next time, I will catch you later, guys.